Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. I did it. I have finished Game of Thrones, which means I saw the infamous Season 8. Was it as bad as people told me and as bad as I read? Was it better than they told me? Was it just okay? From everything I've heard, people have called this season garbage, trash, and I've seen the petition that it should have been rewritten and all that. Here's the thing. I don't think this season was bad. I think people hate the season because of its ending, mostly. The first two episodes were fantastic to me, building everything, everybody getting ready for the war against the Night King. It was beautiful. Arya finally getting home. Well, she was already home last season, but reconnecting with Jon. It was great. It was great. It was fantastic. And Jon got to reconnect with Brandon Stark. But unfortunately, you know, things were gonna get worse. And then the fight with the Night King happened in episode 3. That episode was an hour and like 20 minutes long, and I did not mind it at all. It was like watching a movie, and it was fantastic. The last four episodes were like an hour and 20 minutes each, almost like an hour and 18 minutes, about an hour and 20 minutes. And the fight against the Night King, honestly, I loved it. I loved that episode. I thought it was great. It was fantastic. The action, the dragon versus dragon fight, everything that happened in that fight, I had no issue with it. Granted, it could have been a little lighter in color. At times, it was a little hard to see what the hell's going on, but it wasn't that big of a deal, and it was only at certain points. But I really loved that episode. I thought it was great. Now, as great as it was, I did have one problem with it. Because, this has been going on since season one, since the very opening of the first episode. So I was very disappointed to see that the Night King died so easily. Like, I was disappointed, like, he didn't have a one-on-one sword fight with Jon Snow or somebody else. It didn't have to be Jon. And he just died. Arya's the one who killed him. I had no problem with that because I think Arya is probably the most badass character in the group of Starks. But he just dies so easily. I feel like he didn't do anything besides ride the dragon and just raise people from the dead. A fight would have been nice. And he killed Theon. I hated Theon for betraying Robb, but he redeemed himself. And it was a little sad when Theon died. But yeah, for a conflict that started all the way back in season one and that was getting built since then, it ended kind of anticlimactic, I have to say. It could have been a better ending to the fight. Who knows? I love the episode, and the fight was pretty long, but should there have been multiple episodes to fight? You could argue that too. But overall, I thought the episode was really good and really awesome. There was a lot of people who died here. I felt bad for Sir Jorah Andor, Mormont. I really liked this character to see him die like that and not be able to see Daenerys make it to the Iron Throne was heartbreaking. But we'll get to Daenerys in a second. So yeah, it was a good episode. So it was during this point that I'm like wondering to myself, what's the problem with this season? I'm 3 episodes in and 3 episodes left. So what's the problem? These 3 episodes to me were awesome. So what's the problem with the other three? And then I seen the following episode and it was really good, but it was here where Daenerys killed Varys. And I was like, huh. Because he no longer believed in her as a queen. He thought she was gonna essentially fall in the same footsteps as her father, the Mad King. And I thought he was being a little ridiculous. And this is where the problems began. He wanted Jon Snow, who is now known to be the rightful heir to the throne, to take his place and get the throne because they believed he would be a better ruler, but he wants none of it, and that whole thing. And Jon wants none of it, so Daenerys' throne, she's still gonna have it, but here's the thing, in the following episode, they start to fight against Cersei. First of all, Cersei didn't do anything in this season besides stand around. Very disappointing. And they start the war, and essentially they're winning. And they win, and the other side gives up, and I'm like, okay, cool. Daenerys won. The throne will be hers. For some reason, she decided to fly again, despite having already won, to burn the city with Drogon, the dragon. I was like, what the fuck? That was my reaction. She had already won. The Iron Throne was gonna be hers. She's always protecting the innocent, breaking chains of slaves and all that. This heroic character who we've seen grow throughout the seasons. And then out of nowhere, she just starts killing the innocent, destroying the city, which is what she claimed she didn't want to do throughout this whole time in the show. And she started killing, and we see people dying and buildings being destroyed. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this is not the Daenerys we've seen for the past 7 seasons, 8 seasons. It almost felt like they just did a complete 180 on her. And that's what they did to me, in my opinion. And I'm like, so is this why people don't like this season? But let me be objective and wait up, see what happens next episode. No, her journey continue, and she killed just about everybody. Cersei and Jaime died as everything was collapsing, and it's just she became like a dictator. And I'm like, hold up, are they making her? So she's the daughter of the Mad King, and she's gonna be like the Mad Queen. Pretty much what happened. I didn't like that. It went up against everything we had already seen from her. It went up against everything we've seen. It did not go well with her character at all. It was like a 180. And then in the end, she gets killed by Jon because they're aware she just lost her mind out of nowhere. Had the show maybe built towards it little by little, it wouldn't have hurt so much. But it felt like it came out of nowhere, and due to that, it hurt to then see her die. And if I wanted to rewatch the show, it would suck because then I would see her again. You see her grow from this girl that got sold to Khal Drogo, and then she's free. She has dragons. She builds an army. She gets ships. All this transformation, and now knowing that I've seen the show and know how it would feel like a pointless journey because in the end, she just died. And not even dying. If she would have died of war, would be one thing. She died doing the wrong thing. She became the Mad Queen. It's like Tyrion said, in one day, she had killed more people than Cersei and Tywin combined and Jaime and all them. It's like, she completely lost it. It disappointed me. And yeah, I don't think the season sucked. It's just, I think people probably just say the season sucked because of this thing at the end. The season to me was really good until we got here. The first 4 episodes were good to me, but once we got halfway through the fifth one and the sixth one, I couldn't believe it. It's like I left a hole in my chest. Especially the last episode after she died, I was like, okay. It's just, killing her off was not a good idea. And not just not killing her off, but making her into the Mad Queen, having her lose her brain, her mind, killing people. It just didn't go well. So overall, I want to talk more about it, but I'm gonna make a separate video talking about my thoughts on the whole show. So I'll save it for that. But overall, I thought this was a really good season with a really shitty ending. That's what I thought. Is it as bad as people said it was being? Is it as bad as I read? No. I think some people exaggerated with just calling this garbage and trash and shit season. No. It's a good season with a bad ending. You can't say it's a bad season just because of the ending. Because if that was the case, then the whole show sucks because the ending sucked. So the final verdict is a B, the lowest for me in the whole show. I don't know if it was the weakest season, but it is a lower grade than the other ones that got an A, because some got A's. Because this was the closer, this was the one that's ending everything. And that whole 180 at the end just really ruined it for me. It just didn't go well with the character of Daenerys. It left a hole in my chest. Where I'm like, okay, this was not satisfying at all. After seeing her grow like this and change, it was not satisfying. And then Varys dying, which was a shame he never got a final confrontation with Littlefinger. That was a little disappointing. The Night King dying so disappointing, and all stuff like that makes it for a slightly weaker season due to those issues, especially since the last season. And Brandon Stark is the king out of nowhere. He was probably the most boring characters out of all of them. Out of all the main Stark characters, his story was the least interesting, and his evolution was not that great compared to Sansa, Jon, or Arya. So, but him becoming king didn't really bother me. It kind of came out of nowhere. But it was oh well. But I wanted Daenerys to be the queen. I thought the show would end with Daenerys being queen, and we had peaceful times. So I was okay with it, but it's not the other thing I wanted. I wanted Daenerys to be the queen. So because of those reasons, it gotta be. It was a weaker season than the rest, but it was not hot garbage like some people said it was. So that was my opinion on season 8, the final season. What did you guys think about it? I know a lot of you hate it. This has been Brian Redgrave for my review of Game of Thrones season 8, the final season. Redgrave out.